Digimon Frontier turned 20 years old this month. I feel like Matt Damon at the end of Saving Private Ryan. And so to celebrate, I am continuing to dedicate a bunch of videos to that season. And as everyone who remembers when Frontier comes out probably feels like a skeleton right now, today we're turning to the dark, the twisted, the corrupted. That's right, everybody, we're giving corrupted spirits to the rest of the Digimon Frontier cast. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and please do like and subscribe and ring that bell if you want to see more Dark Digivolution videos. This video has required 5 artists to do 4 original art pieces each, resulting in 20 pieces of art. We're going to be corrupting the human and beast spirits of fire, light, ice, wind, and thunder. I focused on these because they are kind of the main element for each of the Frontier kids, and seeing as there was only one element of Koichi, darkness, that got corrupted, I figured it made more sense if we just corrupted one of each of the other kids. Plus, like I say, this took 20 pieces of art. There just wasn't time or, frankly, budget to do the other spirits, but if you do want to see earth, wood, water, and steel in videos, I definitely plan to do that, just not this month. So, without further ado, let's begin with Tommy's corrupted ice spirits, who were commissioned by All Trade, aka Morally Gary. And this human spirit of ice that you can see here gives birth to the corrupted hybrid Chenumon. Chenumon, as its name implies, comes from the Chenu, mythological creatures, evil man-eating ice giants of northern Wabanaki legends. A Chenu was once a human being who either became possessed by an evil spirit or committed a terrible crime, especially cannibalism or not giving food to someone in desperate need of food, causing their heart to turn to ice, which I think makes a perfect reference point for a corrupted human spirit, but specifically, of course, for Tommy and his spirit of ice. I especially like as Tommy's normal human spirit, Chakmon, is this little cute snow bear, his corrupted ice spirit becoming a large, twisted ice humanoid monster, but with a worn pelt of a Grismon, the de facto Bearmon rookie, which is actually a possible line on Chakmon's recently announced dim card, acting as its allusions to the more bestial side of the Chenu, as well as cementing Chenumon in Chakmon's evolution family. Moving over to the corrupted beast spirit, the icy monster All Trade created is Eiriasmon. Eiriasmon takes its name from the Eirias of Inuit mythology, a shape-shifting human caribou hybrid born when people who ventured too far from home became lost between worlds. Very similar to a human from the real world straying into the digital world. The Eirias hunts and kidnaps people, only letting the kidnapped person find their way home if children can convince it to do so. I love how bestial and creepy this art is, but I also love that All Trade managed to keep the humanity inside this beast. It looks so good alongside Chenumon and works super well as part of Tommy's corrupted spirits. Moving over to Zoe, we're going to be corrupting those fairies and birds, and we're beginning with the corrupted human spirit of wind, which will lead to Zoe becoming Kamaimon, drawn by Kapni. I gave Kapni the jumping off point of evil pixies and the wind yokai Kamaitachi that rides on dust devils in the Japanese Alps, working in groups of 3s to attack people, but ultimately leaving no trace of wounds, a devious type of attack. I just really adore this design, feeling like an excellent dark inverse to Kazemon with the broken fairy wings, but the extra details I like are the spirit of wind insignia on the shoulder pad and the vulture-like headpiece, which ties into the Kamaitachi's vulture-like attacks. And for our corrupted beast spirit of wind, who Kapni took inspiration from the red-bearded vulture and European dragons to make what I have called Vultudramon. This dark side to Shatumon I think works excellently, really doubling down on the bird aesthetics of Shatumon, but stripping almost all of its humanity, leaving behind this terrifying carrion bird dragon. You can also definitely see how it's related to Kamaimon too, with the same chest piece and wind spirit insignia shoulder pads, but now fully given into the monstrous beast inside it. I also like how it has a similar design trajectory as Duskmon and Velgamon, who of course inspired this video. Now it's time for my fellow bug lover and fellow big boy JP, and we're gonna have some fun with his corrupted human spirit of thunder. I commissioned Dry for this one and told him given Beetlemon looks so much like Kamen Riders such as Gatak, we had to base the human spirit on Kamen Riders such as another Agito, and so we arrived at Kuro Kabumon. Its name of course coming from Kuro meaning dark or black, and Kabu coming from Kabuto Mushi Koichi, the same type of rhinoceros beetle Kabuterimon gets its name from, but Kabuto also meaning a type of helmet worn by various types of Japanese soldiers, but notably the samurai, which also heavily influenced this Digimon's design. For an arm, it has a weapon inspired by the Kusarigama, and a scorpion stinger that he can whip around and extend, stunning whoever it hits with blackout lightning. Scorpions are often used as dark riders in Kamen Rider, but this idea also stems from Scorpiomon, who was a major inspiration for our corrupted beast spirit of thunder, who I have named Raijumon, and it looks like this. Raijumon is based as Scorpiomon, as Scorpiomon somewhat feels like a bug equivalent to Skull Greymon. Obviously scorpions are arachnids, and JP's Digimon are more bug and beetle themed, but in the world of Digimon, scorpions and beetles and bugs and stuff are all in basically the same field, or at least the same wheelhouse of evolution. Scorpiomon also has an attack called Blackout, which, well, the absence of electricity is a blackout, which ironically can often be caused by thunderstorms. It just sounded too perfect not to use. Electricity used not as a source of energy, but as a stunner, a tool of assassination. Raijumon gets its name from Raiju, the thunder beast, but actually looks pretty similar to, but Raiju actually has been said to resemble dozens of different animals. It's a companion to Raijin the thunder god, and according to legend, one stormy night, the samurai Tachibana Dosetsu was taking shelter. He drew his sword just in time when the lightning bolt was about to strike. The clash between his sword and the lightning-adorned Raiju smoked up the environment. Once the smoke cleared, the samurai saw a dead Raiju on the ground. Raiju dying in the legend, adding to this kind of like corrupted and skull theme we've got going on here. But in addition to Scorpiomon, Dry also took inspiration from ancient Beatmon, which you can see much more prominently in the bottom half of this design. But Dry wasn't done there, as I also got him to design the corrupted spirits of light. Starting with the corrupted human spirit of light, which became Drogmon. Dry's thought process was the balance of light and darkness in Koichi and Koji, Wolfmon and Loemon. While Wolfmon has two swords, Loemon has a shield and a lance. However, the corrupted darkness, Duskmon, uses two swords. Logically, corrupted light should then use a shield and lance. If the whole deal with the light spirit is speed and agility, an unstoppable force, its corrupted version should be the opposite. A heavy tank which complements the shield it wears nicely, an immovable object. And if the corrupted beast spirit of darkness goes from a lion to a crow, then the light spirit should be far from a wolf. Here we get this tanky, defensive, corrupted spirit, a juggernaut inspired by corrupted paladins, and Skull Bellucimon and Rhino skeletons. I gave it the name Drogmon to reference Garurumon and Velgamon's name etymologies, both being from Norse mythology. And this then leads us nicely to the other Norse-named corrupted beast spirit of light, who I have dubbed Fenrirmon. I named it Fenrirmon because Fenrir is a notable quadruped in Norse mythology, the son of the god Loki and the giantess Angerboda? I've definitely pronounced that wrong. The gods of Asgard even raising Fenrir to make sure he didn't wreak havoc across the 9 worlds, but they failed. He grew quickly and caused so much chaos that they decided to chain him up. But the design for Fenrirmon was actually based on what I believe might be Garurumon's Skull Greymon equivalent. As I covered in my Digimon Adventure Dark Evolutions video, which springboarded this whole video series, there is a card above me right now, because I just think Skull Bellucimon would work so well alongside Skull Greymon. Skull Bellucimon is based on the Bellucitherium, an ancient rhinoceros-like animal which, while Skull Bellucimon doesn't reflect that aspect that much, Bellucimon itself does. Fenrirmon then echoing the specific aesthetic of the Dark Digivolution Skull Greymon, as well as other Skull Digimon like Skull Bellucimon and Skull Mammon. I gave it the name Fenrirmon because there's really no rhino or Bellucitherium equivalent in Norse mythology, so I just wanted to base it on something Norse, and I guess the most prominent quadrupedal kind of like destructive force in Norse mythology is Fenrir. Plus I'm a big Final Fantasy VII fan. But I do feel like this horned beast down on all fours does feel like a nice parallel to the son of Loki, Loki himself often depicted as wearing horns. But some of Dry's design was also inspired by the biblical Behemoth, so we could definitely call it Behemothmon instead. And finally, the corrupted flame spirits designed by HLR Art. We begin with the human spirit of flame, which which will become Chirufemon. HLR took loose inspiration from the Chirufi, a kind of evil creature made of lava from the Mapuche mythology of Chile, which is one of the native groups from where HLR is actually from. I am a huge fan of artists folding in their own culture, history, and traditions into their art pieces, and it's something I'd like to do a lot more of going forward. HLR made the lava and fire green to borrow some of the evil aesthetics from famous villains like Maleficent, and its armor is made of obsidian. I absolutely adore how different this corrupted spirit feels from a Gunimon. Instead of the noble armored protector you can trust, we get this oozing, disgusting green lava creature who you would not want to get anywhere near. It almost looks radioactive or biohazardous in addition to its boiling lava. The etymology I think also works great, as a Gunimon or Agnimon's name comes from the Hindu and Vedic god of fire as well as the guardian of humanity, and so in turn Chirufemon gets to have its etymology come from Mapuche or Chilean mythology. And moving over to our corrupted beast spirit of flame, we have Moitatamon. HLR based this of course on the Moitata, a fire serpent from Guarani mythology, from the Amazon region. It's like a guardian of the forest and can and will kill anyone that damages the forest. I adore how we get an original type of creature here for Tokoya's corrupted beast spirit, but it feels also so in line with something like Skull Greymon or Skull Bellucimon, just like Fenrirmon and the others. Moitatamon is just pure distilled beast. It's incredible to think a human could even become so corrupted as to be it. And it of course is getting its name again from a culture's mythology, which feels very true to the naming conventions of Frontier. HLR also made a blue variant saying, and I quote, "In my head, a natural coloured fire is evil and corrupted. I guess it comes from watching Azula's blue firebending in Avatar." So there's the Avatar reference. I've never watched Avatar, I'm so sorry.
What's wrong with you?
I've seen the Blue People one, I've just not seen the anime. You guys watching Moon Knight? Well, anyway, that is my video for today. I hope you enjoyed these corrupted Digimon Frontier spirits. It was so much fun getting all these artists together to do this, and I love seeing how each of them brought their own ideas to the table, influenced by cultures they were either part of or inspired by. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. I guess it's Savers Dark Digivolution's next, huh? Before we go, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my sovereign ZDK14 and all my other channel members who have made this video possible with their hard-earned money, including my Digidestined, Gekaluchi, Nightshade J, Cole Taku, Kenya Kubiaki, Night 12, Kya Jaeger, Rule Lima, NVBBX, Dresden Nova, Metallic Pool, Triple D, Reese Williams, Sad Uncle Callum, and Crimson Dragon Slayer, and everyone else you can see on screen right now. Thank you to everyone. I hope you're enjoying the early access videos when they're available. If you're not a channel member, I would suggest becoming one if you want more videos like this in future. And either way, thank you for watching, and make sure you check out the video below me because it is the one that YouTube thinks you would most like to watch from my channel, so it's probably pretty good. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.